With Sammy having left the group, leaves you all standing there in the entrance. Not quite sure what to do with yourselves. Not quite sure where you're supposed to go or who you're supposed to talk to. And it is a strange atmosphere to see creatures of all sorts mingling with one another. However, after a long moment, a woman starts to make her way across the room. She approaches with an intriguing enigma, her presence commanding attention despite her rather weathered appearance. Despite her obvious youth, she seems to carry the weight of a lifetime's worth of experiences on her broad shoulders. The sleeves of her shirt strain against the well-defined muscles beneath, a testament to her strength and resilience. Rolled up to her brawny forearms, the fabric reveals crisscrossing barbed wire-like scars etched into her tan skin, a clear sign, past filled with hardships and battles. An intriguing contrast plays out before your eyes, as the wimple covering her head speaks of tradition and devotion. The white curl, while the curl of russet red hair that peeks out hints at a spirited and rebellious nature. In the dim glow of the bar, her hair appears almost ruby-like, at least what you can see of it, setting her apart from the sea of shadows around. Amber-hued eyes hold an intensity that seems to see beyond the veneer of darkness that surrounds you lot. And there's a glimmer of understanding in those whiskey eyes. A depth that suggests she has glimpsed the hidden struggles of the night, and the secrets that lay within each of your undead hearts. A glint catches your attention as you notice metal braces on her teeth, an unexpected but strangely endearing detail that adds to her rather unique look. It's a small glimpse into the person that she is, beneath layers of what appear to be contradictions. Yet it's a tattoo on her back that truly captures your curiosity and imagination. She kind of looks around for a moment, turns back to the bar almost as if she's forgotten something, and you catch a hint an Irish cross, intricately coiled with serpents and draped in shimmering rosaries of silver and gold. It's a symbol of faith and protection, but also strength and defiance, as if she bears her past like a badge of honor and refuses to be bound by it. The nuns here don't wear your normal nun outfit. Sure, they have the wimple, but it's a bit more punkish here, a bit more bikerish. At least that's the feel of it. And as you watch, this woman stops in front of you and smiles.
So, fresh sinners, huh? Confessions that way. Now she kind of points with a thumb over her shoulder. One of the booths that's around the edge of the bar space that all have these neon confession plates at the top of the doorway flicks off.
Wait, does it actually look like a confession booth with like neon lights around it?
It does.
100%.
This is not your ordinary bar. From the sight of being run by nuns to having confessional booths in what appears to be a bar.
Full of supernatural critters.
I'm gonna let one of y'all go in the box. I'm just gonna, it's gonna be cute and stay alive out here. Kind of jam a little bit. Yeah, here alive.
I was never one for religion.
May I make a roll?
4.
Who's running this bar?
You are welcome to run to make a roll if you so choose. We're gonna do
Intelligence investigation, or do you want me to do more intelligence occult?
I'd like to do the same, by the way, as I wander around.
I'm gonna add 3 dice pools for you. Intelligence 3. Intelligence plus investigation and occult. Naturally, your difficulty is going to be higher. We're going to need 5 successes this time. Nicely done!
Can I do the same, or wait?
You absolutely can.
Same
We'll
rolls?
Yep. And we'll get to answers in just a moment.
So that was intelligence Occult and
Intelligence, investigation, and occult.
I know, we're just jamming over here. Yeah, music.
How many did you... Are you at 10 already?
I have 6 10s. I'm counting the rest.
Okay, so if you have 6 10s, that's 2 pairs, that's going to be 12 successes. We're just going to say that you've got it.
And 5 regular successes.
The one detail that pulls out of the darkness towards you is, once again, that stained glass window. The one with the clearing, with a field of butterflies flitting around. Matter of fact, those butterflies aren't where they were when you were first looking. They're ever so slowly moving around the frame.
Quick question. Is the frame like shape relative to the room?
The frame looks like it fits.
The nun that's standing in front of us, is there a butterfly where she would be?
No.
You might want to take a seat. Or order a drink. What you thirsty for? She looks at Elizabeth.
I would like a drink. And are you taking confession, or is this just for fun?
She doesn't give a direct answer, but flashes a bit of braces in a grin. Walks over to the bar, and as you see her start to take out one of the glasses, there's a little dish of what looks to be either cinnamon or brown sugar. It's not immediately apparent at a glance, but she dips the rim into it before grabbing a bottle of green glass that, as the cork gets popped out, the smell of whiskey fills the air.
Well, thank God I can eat food.
Seeing as I am the only sister around at the moment, I think you could connect the dots.
Takes glass. Wait, is it... Just does like a... While keeping eye contact, just smells it. I'm assuming I'm smelling just straight whiskey and sugar.
There is a scent of citrus to it as well. At some point in the process, she seemed to have added orange bitters.
Just takes a sip. Again, can eat food. Takes like a nice sip, just... It's really nice. A sister knows how to make a good drink. I really like you.
I apologize. What was your name again?
Martha, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Martha. Could you by chance provide us with a couple goblets of blood? Typo negative.
Just for fun, do you have anything of the animal variety? I'd like to nom a llama.
We have all sorts. Don't worry. Have a seat.
One with, if you could, one with one with passion, please.
Anything else for you, princess?
You hear a snort from Val as she comes around the corner and just puts her shoulder on Bone Daddy's. Just, I'm gonna remember this moment for a long time.
The storyteller's gonna remember this for a long time.
What do you have for someone who's been around for a long time?
Let's just say she really needs a drink. She's had a really long day.
And can we find a booster seat maybe? Because I'm really short. If I climb onto the chair, someone's gonna have to carry me down.
She starts to fill out the rest of the drink orders. Looking particularly at Bone Daddy for a moment as she adds something from a very small, almost vial-like container into the O negative that had been asked for. And as she looks over at Val, she just kind of quirks a brow. How old are we talking about? You looking at Da Vinci, or are we
Before
speeding the shores of Jerusalem?
Depicts.
if you're given that you have a tattoo yourself, if you know anything of tattoos in general, Val is covered, like from neck down, in tattoos, but they are old. It's the kind of thing you would see in like historic books about like ancient Ireland and the Picts and all those kinds of things.
In various shades of
oddly,
blues and greens.
And oddly, if you need a seat,
She's gonna hop on the Bone Daddy's lap. She is.
Hey, they don't call him the Bone Daddy for just any old reason.
Hey, it's the safest place to be around here.
She ain't wrong.
The booster seat goes back under the bar.
Yeah, I've been boosted enough for the night.
Oh.
Sister Martha wanders off for a moment to fill the rest of your drink order, leaves you guys alone at your seats for the moment. She'll be back in just a couple of minutes, but I want to give you guys a chance to have the floor to yourselves to discuss things, because you have to figure out where you're going from here.
I'm just gonna find a scrap piece of paper and a pen, and then write, "Hey, Friar Tux sent us. He sent Friar Tux. FT sends his regards," or something like that. Something like does the message, but also probably somewhat cryptic.
I was going to say we should figure out how we'll approach this lady when she comes back, but I suppose the old ways always work best.
So, who wants to go in the box? Anybody want to go in the box? Because I'm not going in the box. Yay, we have a volunteer for the box.
I'll do it. I'll go in the box. I'll do it.
I don't like being in crates, let alone boxes. It's like a whole thing.
you mean box, apologies.
He just points to the confession booths.
At what point are we going in there for anything?
I'm just saying, if someone's got to go in, it ain't gonna be me.
What I do think is that, I don't know. Who has Auspex here again? Why not just...
Yeah.
to Sister Margaret?
Well, I have considered it. This place is steeped in magic and spell work.
Well, I'm very well aware.
This place feels like a giant truce.
And it
Like, everyone be at peace. Everybody, no fighting, no violating anything. Just
Oh,
so
so
I
like,
think the best approach would be talking.
It's about this moment that Sister Martha makes an appearance back at the table with your drinks actually in tow.
She looks at Val, and there's a distinct scent of honey to the drink that she sets down in front of you. the kind of sweet scent that only mead has. And holding your gaze for a moment, there is a bit of a recognition of kinship in the depths of her whiskey-hued eyes. She just pushes the drink a little closer. Slagvar.
Merci. Santé. And she'll take the drink. Does a little. What do I taste?
It is very well-aged honey mead.
Can I drink that and not get sick?
We are going to assume that there were a few drops of blood put in that for you in order to help you
Digest.
swallow them.
Sounds good. Don't normally need help with that, but you know.
Of course you don't.
There's also a small cut on Martha's hand as she walks to the confessional.
Interesting.
All right. All right. Well, stands up from booth. Don't get in too much trouble while I'm gone.
We will endeavor not to.
I can't get in any trouble. I'm in the safest place here, so I'll let you guys get in trouble. I'm just gonna look cute.
I go to the other side of the confessional. Is there like a curtain? Is it like a door?
It's a wooden door.
Okay. Oh, do I see anything, or is it just the screen there?
As you step inside, there's a plain wooden bench on the inside, just enough light filtering in so you can see things. There is a screen, and the moment you shut the door and sit down, you hear a sliding sound of wood, almost. And then a moment later, you can hear somebody on the other side. It sounds a lot like the person that just brought you your drink.
Hello.
The chair audibly creaks as Martha sits down. You won't have to worry being overheard while you're in this room. It's a little extra something that gives privacy even to those of a perceptive nature. So, what is on your mind?
We are looking for Friar Tuck, who sends his regards. When we were directed that you would know where he is or know something to give us a lead.
There is a small twitch at the mention of Friar Tuck. But aside from that, her body language remains very still. It is a very specific quest.
Yes. I don't like beating around the bush. I am very direct.
You don't like beating around the bush?
Maybe be nicer to the butchers. I don't think they've done anything to you.
I didn't want to make a meme today,
Wow!
and I did anyway.
She just kind of chuckles at the slip of the tongue and says, "That's a shame. You are pretty cute."
Don't beat around the bush.
There are some sins that have a greater weight to them.
Such as?
Well, such as a very specific piece of information. Especially when dear Friar's safety is concerned. Tuck is a good man. And there are not many that are good men.
There we full-heartedly agree. He, in fact, was one of the only people who gave me any sort of hope for what I am. I think the bare minimum in return I could give him for that is keeping that safety.
There is not quite a visible conflict in the sister, but there are flickers that Reed has a internal weighing, a slight tension to the lips. There is a slight intensity to her gaze as she's just watching you. Just listening quietly for a moment.
We're gonna take a moment and we're going to shift back outside our confessional box to the rest of the party and see what they're up to.
I'm drinking.
You drinking?
I'm drinking.
You take a sip. This drink, my dear bone collector, it tastes like it was made just for you and only for you. You're sure they make this recipe 100 times a day? But it calls to you almost. You don't know what's in it, but it's good.
I have some of mine as well.
Much like the bone collector, this is like your drink. This is something that you didn't know you needed. Almost like there's some magic being worked here. Not unpleasant, as it were, though.
Out of curiosity, does this take away hunger?
These drinks, for those of you that are drinking, I will give you 1 point of hunger back.
Okay, but did I get Nanama?
Yes. You all got everything you asked for a drink.
It's a specific joke between me and Dragon from earlier today.
Either way, Either way, you all got everything that you asked for. You're not quite sure how they got llama blood, but they got it.
Out of curiosity, is the resonance sanguine?
We can go with that.
I was going to ask if there was particular resonance to mine as well.
Same.
For you two, 1 moment.
Now that we know that, like, depending on what kind of blood we have, it could have a certain resonance to it based on who, the emotions of the donor that it came from. So different resonances or the different emotions that are fused within the blood could affect us in different ways and give us some perks, possibly. For those that did not know how that worked and what we are talking about.
Okay, but does that mean I want to spit on people now?
No, it just makes your animal abilities a lot more potent.
For Valerie and D, you likewise have sanguine resonances.
Next question is for the resonance.
Blaze,
Yes.
Yes.
can Martha try to get a bit of an insight on Elizabeth.
Yep. We will take a look at that when we come back to the confessional. Just bear with me.
Does this help us gain a temporary point in presence?
Good question. 1 second.
Or, in some cases, blood sorcery?
1 moment.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, say no more.
You know what? I'll allow it.
So with residents, do we have to write down somewhere as to what perks we got for the moment?
Make note of it. As we shift back to the confessionals. You want to see if you can gain some insight on Elizabeth, yes?
Yes.
You are going to make me an intelligence and awareness roll and send me the numbers in a DM.
I'm assuming that the whiskey drink I got earlier does nothing for my hunger because it is whiskey. But is there any? I'm assuming there's no resonance either. It's just whiskey with orange bitters.
If it does not have blood in it, it would do nothing for your hunger and you would have no resonance. But if I'm not mistaken, enjoy your old-fashioned.
Fuck yeah. I couldn't afford this shit in college.
It's an old-fashioned with a little bit of Sister Martha.
Oh, actually, yeah, she did. You did drop a couple of drops in for her?
Mm-hmm. In both the old-fashioned and in the mead.
So you would get a touch of sanguine, and I will allow you to take back a point of hunger as well. Thank you for your numbers. What exactly are you trying to determine with Elizabeth?
That's 3 10s. Holy shit.
Yeah, rough question, right?
She is trying to gauge Elizabeth's morality as a person.
Elizabeth, are you trying to hide this at all?
No.
Somebody who... The impression you get is somebody who is in a shitty situation. You get the distinct impression that this isn't what Elizabeth wants for herself. She never wanted to be this, but she is trying to make do the best she can with the cards she has been dealt. And despite the fact that she has effectively been handed a shit hand, she is still in it to help people. She's still in it to be a somewhat decent person, even if that means, unfortunately, a few lives are extinguished in the crossfire. Would you say that about sums it up, Elizabeth?
A good noodle.
There's a long moment where Martha does not say anything before her eyes soften just the faintest bit, and that same softness kind of spreads to the rest of her facial features. Much like it is difficult to find a good man, it is arguably more difficult to find someone whose goodness persists after the worst has become of them. You are a good soul, but what you ask for is not something that I can give cheaply.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Sister Martha has said you are a good soul despite the shit that's been handed to you, despite the fact that you have been made into what you are. Yet, the information that you ask for cannot be given cheaply.
What would be an adequate price or trade?
Sister Martha, at this point, On the wall next to you is a picture of a fairly young girl, probably about 17 or 18 years old, somebody that has been held in rather high esteem throughout this bar, somebody that was looked on favorably at least. The picture calls to you a little bit. Not vocally, not mentally, just you know what needs to be done.
She looks over at the picture, and it's a fairly nice picture. The young woman in it is done up well, kind of like the yearbook photos at a high school, but this is like the freshman photo. And she picks up the picture for a moment off the wall and sets it down, facing your side of the confessional. There is a matter of one that has been lost before my time, but well beloved by those that yet linger among the older sisters. She was a good soul, from what I've heard. And she left far too soon. From what I have heard, there is a manner of a memorial that is still held for her at a nearby health center. And of late I have been feeling odd whispers, as though some part of this girl is clinging to what yet remains. I am not so naive to brush aside the prospect that her spirit has been caught by some means and lingers. So if you will take care of that for me, then I would call that fair service for the information you require.
May I know her name?
Her name was Isabella. There's a long moment of pause as she just stares at the picture after turning it away from you again, before she puts it back on the wall. You should talk to some of the older sisters. They will know better about where her memorial is. All I know is that it is abandoned. The health center has not been in use since around the time that Isabella was lost.
If you will kindly direct me to these older sisters, I would be more than happy to get started, as well as include my compatriots so we have the best shot of being able to complete this correctly.
She nods slightly, and you hear a button click, and the sound of the sign clicks off as the sounds from the room outside of the confessional start to filter back in. Whatever magic that was locking in the sound and preventing both the act of being heard and the act of hearing beyond the walls has been turned off. By the by, because you seem like the type to have a sense of humor. The drink on our menu is called a confession. She just gives you a wink before stepping out the confessional.
As you step out of the booth, both Sister Martha and Elizabeth, sitting just outside of the confessional in a wheelchair, with an orderly standing behind it, it's an older black woman with a decent-sized, now graying afro. She looks first at Elizabeth and then at Sister Martha. She just raises an eyebrow for a second. Are you sending her? It's all you hear from her.
Well, her and her friends.
Her friends? Bold move.
You know me, sister. Boldness is my middle name.
Ah, indeed it is, Martha. She looks over at Elizabeth. A pleasure to meet you. Your name is...
Elizabeth.
Pleasure to meet you, Elizabeth. I haven't been a sister for quite some time, but you know how it is. Once you have the title, you never quite seem to get rid of it to those who know you. So, for the moment, you can call me Sister Mary Clarence.
Pleasure to meet you.
She nods. Are you rescuing our dear Isabella?
I'm going to try my absolute best.
Well then, I have something for you. A bit of a gift for her. Something she left behind a while ago. And she digs around in her handbag for a moment before extracting what appears to be an old chocolate bar of sorts. It says milkshake on the front. Looks like it might have come from the 70s or maybe the 80s. You're not quite sure, but it is definitely an old wrapper. It was her favorite, and unfortunately, I never got a chance to give it to her because when we sent her off, she never came back. She had contracted some disease or some illness or something like that. And they never could find what ailed her, or heal what ailed her.
So, corporeally, she passed, but you believe that something is keeping her here against her will, if that is to be certain of what is going on.
Despite everything she appeared to be, she was a good soul. She was somebody who saw the world for what it is, and she chose hope. She chose peace among all else. That being said, if she is still sticking around, which I'm fairly certain she is, there's a good reason for it.
All right. May I have the address of the place in question?
She'll draw out a pen and a piece of paper and scribble something on it, scribble an address on it, and hand it over to you. It's for an address in the south end of the city. I wish you all of the best. If you find yourself in a bit of a pickle while you're searching for her, or sorry, after you've found her, remember she couldn't really hurt a fly.
She was much beloved. That is for certain.
And the orderly behind her wheelchair will unlock the brakes, pull Mary back, and slowly wheel her towards the door. She looks over her shoulder. Good luck. creature like you to have hope, that brings a smile to my face and warms my heart, dearie.
Just like a genuine, like almost like teary smile, just like back at her.
You make your way back to your table, where your compatriots sit. You guys are welcome to talk amongst yourselves. Your storyteller will be back in a moment.
Grabs drink, just chugging it.
I look towards Sister Martha. Incandita sensitur si interrogationem personalem de te sorar morta interrogem.
Would
Did you just order tacos? Because that sounds like you ordered tacos.
Latin.
Is that Latin?
That is Latin.
I understand that because Elizabeth speaks Latin, so I would know what you're saying.
And I understand it as well.
Translate that to English?
Yeah. I'll translate. It says, is it considered rude if I were to ask a more personal question of you, Sister Martha?
How personal are we getting?
That depends, Princess. If it's for extracurricular activities, I'm afraid you're not really my type. But outside of that, shoot.
He just like pats Ottilie on the head. Oh. With the up on her face.
S02E06.
I can't with you.
S02E06.
You can just switch to English if you would like.
Translation: are you of the Fae?
That's a bold question. One moment, please.
Oh, shut up a fuck.
I feel like I'm gonna get like my door kicked in by Blaze any second now.
FBI, open up!
If anybody's kicking in doors of kinds, it's usually me, actually.
Yeah. she's got them thighs of thunder.
Val kicks down the doors, Ottilie steals them, and names them Penelope.
Under her breath, Elizabeth just goes, "Maybe debe sapiunt tue negocio," which translates to, "Maybe you should mind your business."
Oh my god, you can't just ask someone if they're fae. God.
Oh my god, you can just ask people why they're not a vampire.
Martha points over at Elizabeth in a very this one gets it kind of a vibe before getting a bit serious. And as she is facing away from you in particular, Bone Daddy, the serpents on her back shift slightly. There is not a lot of answers I can give to that particular question. However, not all sacraments are done under the power of Christ.
I heard that information was for sale. At least that's what I was told, yes?
And there is a transaction in place, but we will need to move locations.
Huh?
We have a job to do. We need to go I'll tell
But,
you
how-
when we're out.
Okay.
Fine. Come on.
But do we know? Oh, so is this like pertaining to what we need to do next for our main things?
Is this going to help your father, Douglas?
This will help
That's
us.
what I need to do now?
Yep.
If that's it, if that's all we need, are we still waiting?
Or
You're going to want to wait for a bit longer.
I was meaning
know if you, I don't know if you insomniacs, she stresses the word slightly, can tell being first timers here, but it is getting fairly close to dawn. We have stiff boxes through there, if you're of the more classic sort, or the beds are through there. Don't worry. They're all good.
There will be enough time for you to get back to the hotel room. Perhaps you should enjoy the drinks for the moment and the company.
Oh, if we have pressing moves, or should we wait for our last compatriot?
you mean Sammy?
I mean, starts with red.
Sammy will not be joining you for that adventure, unfortunately.
I believe that they said that they're not coming back tonight.
Yeah, I think they said they were just dropping off.
They have a case. They were dropping us off.
I thought that was the case. I thought she was going to come back. Never mind. Well, if that being the case, I suppose we should just enjoy our drinks.
I completely agree.
They are rather good.
The next hour or so passes by fairly fluidly. The drinks are brought out. And the interesting thing is, for the Yesti,
So for that next hour, as we're just like hanging out, enjoying drinks, like Dee is just kind of like looking around, doing a little people watching, getting herself familiar with the basically putting faces to energies and what have you. And she's taking note of the fact that there are humans in this establishment, such as Sister Martha here. But with the other humans, are the only humans in the establishment the staff, or what else?
oh no, there are also patrons. Humans, vampires, werewolves, witches. They're mingling. From what the Bone Collector and Valerie know, this should not be a thing.
Dee is gonna lean over to the Bone Collector. Hey, so I don't know if you've noticed some of the variety of patrons here with how should I put this? Not for humans. Is it okay for humans to be here? Like, she gets in like real close so that way no one else can hear.
He leans in and goes, I believe it's an illusion.
But
And Audley's gonna look at you and be like, I am right here. How did nobody have him on his lap?
He trusts Audley enough.
So, like, the humans are the illusion, or the...
May I make a roll on Kindred? Blaze?
You are welcome to make a roll. We'll get that dealt with.
I'm gonna do intelligence investigation, occult, if that's all right.
Yep. As far as you can tell, there is no illusion here.
While Val definitely finds it odd, she's sort of shirking it under the like, oh, this must just be like a new century thing. So she's just sort of packing it under that like weird shit modern people do.
As you're trying to figure things out here amongst yourselves, argument breaks out at a table next to you. Somebody pulls out a knife and attempts to shank the person that they're arguing with. And a moment later, they're no longer there. Just like that. 30 seconds later, they walk back in through the door. They look older, almost. They walk up to the person that they were having an argument with. They pull out a revolver and attempt to shoot. And before the bullet leaves the gun, you watch their body desiccate and decay to the point where they're nothing more than ash on the floor.
What the fuck?
Mind the rules of this establishment.
Noted!
Sister Martha, would you like to explain? It is your place after all.
Told him he was on thin ice after the first time.
Could you explain the rules of this establishment to us so that we may not follow insane footsteps, please?
This place is one fellowship. Hospitality is the king here, and those who violate it bring violence into space. Well, it's really more of a two-strike system. The first time you might be lucky enough to actually get back. Really, all that happens is that you take whatever hurts you deal. An eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. A knife wound to the chest for a knife wound to the chest. The second time, though, that's where things get interesting. The wards here are not only connected to the where of the world, but also the when. They boot you out, and you come back somewhere. Could be across the town, could be across the continent, could be the middle of the Arctic. But it also might be 300 years ago, or a few millennia. It's not really certain.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like when he came back in, he was a little bit older.
Probably got booted about a couple of decades.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, and just one other thing. There's a lot of private things happen within these walls. So outside of them, well, what is said in privacy remains private, whether you like it or not.
So essentially, what goes on in here stays in here.
Yeah, it's kind of like Vegas in a way.
But even in Vegas, things get slipping. At least here has a little bit better security.
Well, half the process of creativity is taking someone else's idea and refining it.
Can you tell me how old this place is?
You don't ask a lady their age.
Not you. The establishment.
I know what you meant.
I have a
The state-
feeling they are one and the same.
Yeah, the sentiment still stands, Bonesy.
I get up and place Audley in my stead and walk over to the confessional.
While they're doing that, because now I'm hearing the what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas thing, I'm gonna lean in and go, okay guys, so this is what's going down. And kind of explain the situation. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to say this outside of the establishment.
You just power word whisper the whole thing to us.
I send a brain email of the picture to Val so that hopefully she can recreate it when we get out of here.
B-mail.
Brain email that you
B-mail!
just hear
The B-mail.
We're
The
gonna-
B-mail. The B-mail.
We're going to shift for a moment to the Bone Collector, who's heading over to the confessional.
I'm gonna step into the confessional and close it.
Martha audibly sighs and walks over to the confessional.
I sit down. I'm pretty sure you know why I'm here.
Well, I'm no mind reader, so why don't you spell it out for me?
Alright. I've seen a lot of things. I know a lot of things. What I don't know is this place. And apparently there's a lot of secrets, and I understand secrets. I don't understand this place. Perhaps you can help me by understanding what I'm seeing.
What you see is what you get.
That's not how this works.
That is how this works. It's rather nice like that, actually. The parts that you don't see are not visible for a reason. And you don't need to know what that reason is. You do not need to see what goes on beyond this mirror.
So perhaps a little bit more an elaboration on the rules. Would you give me that?
The rules are simple for a reason.
Nothing is simple. Everything has a price.
The point. The voice kind of makes itself apparent from within the confessional. The rules are thus: 1. You keep the peace. Truces are formed here. You deal damage, you take damage, your enemy walks away. 2. You violate the rules a second time, we remove you from the premises. To another place and another time. 3. If that still doesn't sate your quest for violence, we'll take care of the problem for you. And you end up a pile of dust. This seems to solve a good chunk of our problems.
When you say it does damage, does that include mental, physical, social, emotional damage?
The violence stays out of this place. You can be angry at somebody all you wish, but the moment you encroach and try to cause harm, you take that same harm in return. A knife for a knife, a gun for a gun, a punch for a punch.
As I saw. The reason why I ask is because I've seen all sorts of things. I have read all sorts of things. This I have never read about. Never seen before. So I apologize if I seem like I'm coming off rude. This is new territory to me.
You are suspicious. That's understandable. Just look at it this way. Stay peaceful, obey the rules, you'll be fine. Those
Sure.
rules are set up for some of our more aggressive clientele.
How is it that you have managed to quell an ongoing war between the worm and the weaver?
Because no matter the species, no matter who you are, no matter what species you are, everyone has one basic instinct that drives them forward. And that is survival. But in order to invoke that fear of survival, we need to make examples.
Understood. Thank you, Sister Martha.
Oh, I'm not Sister Martha, my dear.
Oh, I know. But I don't know what to call you, and the only other person here that can hear us is Sister Martha.
Muchly appreciated.
And I give up.
You get-
Curiosity sated.
It is here. As the sun slowly makes its ascent, that we are going to close out this episode as you all head back to the hotel.
I have one thing before that.
What's up?
As the group is starting to head out, Martha stops Elizabeth with a hand on the shoulder. Good sorts like you often have a lot on their mind. If it ever becomes enough that you need somewhere to vent it, Fridays, 8 p.m.
And this is like as most genuine as like humanly as possible, so that Sister Martha like comprehends just how like important that is. Just thank you. Much needed.
And don't forget the password.
Of course.
As you make your way out and back to the hotel, you fall into a slumber as you get back home. The sun rises, and we bring this episode to a close, with our group having at least an idea of where to go and what's coming next, or where they should head next. It's going to be a long trek for them.
Long so many ways.
And it is not going to be easy. Make sure you bring your sanity with you. You're going to need it.
What sanity?
We'll see you next episode.